Welcome back to another episode of This Week with Carolina Commits. I'm THI staff writer Brandon P. Joining me today is the director of football recruiting at Tar Heel Illustrated. That's Miss Dina King. And Dina, week 7 is in the books. We got some stats that we want to talk about. And just for those who are new to the show, the format of the show is we talk about the top 5 UNC commits and their performances in high school football from the past week. And then we're going to talk about the top 3 upcoming games for the upcoming week. So we're going to just jump right into it. The first person on our list coming in at number 5 is Zion Ferguson. He led Gainesville High School to a 35-0 win over Lanier High School. So what kind of stats did Ferguson put up to make the list this week, Dina?
Zion Ferguson is a very exciting player, and so he made the list. He made 3 tackles and a sack on defense, and he returned an electrifying 95-yard interception return for a touchdown to help the Red Elephants to a big win over Lanier. I mean, I had that game as one of the highlighted games this past week. So big win for his program. So good all around game for Zion.
Yeah, another athlete in the UNC class that's just a good overall athlete, can do a lot of different things on the field. Something that Mac Brown has showed that he likes. The next person we have on our list is 3-star wide receiver Javarius Green. He's been on this list many times before. He's out of Crest High School, who defeated South Point. What could be confused as a basketball score, 61-49. So, how did Green earn a spot on the weakness list? On the list this week, excuse me.
Crest, one of the top teams in 3A and basically in the state. As you mentioned, he's been on here a lot of times because he's been having a great senior season. Against South Point, he caught 4 passes for 165 yards with a touchdown. Very exciting, explosive game between 2 football programs that have a lot of good tradition.
Yeah. And if my stats are correct, because I've been keeping up with some stats on my own, if my stats are correct for Green, I believe he's up to about 600 yards and 10 receiving touchdowns on the year. So that's some really good production from him out of that. Mm-hmm. The next person that we have on our list is kicker Lucas Osada out of Woodbury Forest High School, who defeated Landon School 35-7. Now, Dina, kickers usually don't get that much recognition. So what did Osada do this past week to make the list?
Well, he connected 5 of 5 on extra points, and, kickers are supposed to do that. But what caught my eye was he was 6 of 6 for touchbacks. And if you look on our weekly article, I had a tweet where he retweeted where he kicked a touchback and it went through the goalpost. So, I mean, he's got a great leg. So, and then he punted 2 times for over 40 yards. So, and give credit to the kicker this week, Lucas Osada, for a good game, and for Woodbury getting their first win of the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. If Osada can consistently put touchbacks in the end zone, he will get some playing time as a true freshman, because we saw against Pittsburgh how not getting a touchback could lead to a disastrous play. Yeah, so next person we have on our list is 4-star wide receiver Alex Taylor out of Grimsley High School, who defeated Western Guilford 55-0. He's been on this list quite a few times. We can almost call him a resident on your list. But what did he do this past week to earn his spot on the list this week?
He caught 8 passes for 129 yards with a touchdown, and Grimsley is currently, I believe, number 1 in 4A, and they have a really, really great team loaded with a lot of great players. Faison Brandon is a very young quarterback in the 2026 class that will probably be a 4-star and have everybody after him. And then Terrell Anderson, Alex's counterpart there in the receiving group, is a big-time senior receiver that's committed to NC State. So Grimsley's got a lot of great players on that offense, and they rolled big time over Western Guilford.
Yeah. And then at the number one spot, we have another frequent visitor on the list. We have edge rusher Curtis Simpson. Simpson plays for Kings Mountain, who defeated Forest View 49-7. How did Simpson earn the number one spot this week?
Well, he put up really good, impressive numbers on the defensive side, and this is week 7. Most of the time the offensive guys dominate this little podcast. But Curtis had a big game in that game against Forest View. Had 10 tackles and 3 sacks, and blocked a punt. So, he's a nightmare for a lot of those coaches down there in his region. They say they can't block him, and he's blocking punts too. So he's just a really incredible talent that I'm sure the coaching staff and fans are be really excited when he steps on campus in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I think I've said this before, but I think the most impressive part about Curtis Simpson is the fact that he's been putting up these numbers for quite some time now. And like you said, the coaches in the area know that they can't block him. So, every game, going into every game, he's a focal point. We're going to try to find a way to block this guy. And he still finds a way to put up these monstrous numbers. So it's just really impressive. All right, Dina, the next thing we have is the top 3 games coming up for this coming up week. This is going to be week 8 in the state of North Carolina, but, the weeks vary around different parts of the country. But the first game we have is Opoka versus Olympia. Why should UNC fans be interested in this game?
Well, that is down in Florida. Jalen Thompson, DB for Olympia, committed to UNC this past season. He's having a pretty good year so far, 17 tackles and an interception. So Olympia is 4-1, and Apopka is 3-2. And Apopka is had some Tar Heels in the past. I believe Ed Montelis may be from there, and William Barnes maybe. Not sure, but that name, and Joel Berry, UNC basketball star, former star, is from Apopka. So I picked that
the
game.
Orlando area.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next game we have is Kings Mountain versus South Point. We just talked about Curtis Simpson. What are your thoughts on that game?
Kings Mountain 6-0, going to South Point 3-3. That record is kind of misleading because South Point's, like I said earlier, one of the top programs in that 3A. Curtis Simpson is having a really stellar year. Could be up for potential All-State honors. 48 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 14 quarterback hurries, and 2 block punts. So he's an offensive coordinator's nightmare. So I look for that to be, another good game. South Point, they love to run the ball. So Curtis and the Mountaineers are, they look like they're on a collision course with Crest and Javaris Green the last weekend of the regular season.
Yeah, I truly believe if J. Brown Harvey, Tyler Thompson, and Curtis Simpson can stay together, that trio is going to be a really good trio for UNC in about 3 years. The last game we have on our list is Charlotte Christian visiting Christ School, who is 1-5 on a tough schedule. But why should UNC fans in that area go and check out this game?
Khalil Conley, he's a great athlete. He's played on both sides of the ball for Christ. He's done a little bit of everything. Like you mentioned, Christ has played a really tough schedule. They're coming off their first win of the season this past weekend over Asheville School. So Conley, he's got like around 140 yards receiving and a touchdown, and on defense, 18 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 5 breakups, and it's had 2 touchdowns this year. So if you're up in the mountain areas up towards Asheville, that would be a good game to go watch if you are a UNC fan.
I think that's the football version of a stat sheet stuffer. But Dina, anyway, I think that's a really good place to stop. For TarHeelIllustrated.com, I've been Brandon P. She's been Dina King. Thank you for watching.